Good evening and welcome to the Armchair Fireside Chat for Executives. My name is Dawna Jones and I'm the host of the Evolutionary Provocateur podcast on www.management-issues.com. Today I'm here to talk about intuition, the return and the power of it as a tool for executives. We have several things that are forcing the return back to intuition. We've kind of lost it along the way, although entrepreneurs never lost it. But let's start with the factors that are having us go back and review and reconnect with that powerful tool within us. First of all, there's an increasingly amount of data and information coming at us at a rate that's unprecedented. Secondly, there's a rapid speed, a high speed, forcing high speed, and there's also a high level of complexity, an increasing level of complexity. It's not going down, it's going up. And the third factor, and probably the most important factor of all, has to do with the capacity or the pressure that's under business cultures to adapt in order to engage talent and keep talent, and not to mention innovation and all of the other businesses of growth and expansion. It all resides in the talent of the organization, and unless you can work with that, then obviously I'm stating the obvious to a degree, but by the same token, biological principles tell us that 90% of what drives results, both personal and organizational, are embedded in the underneath the surface. You can't see that. So without intuition, you really can't access that. So that's the first thing. Now, what is intuition? Intuition is defined as the capacity to access the subconscious, essentially that 90%. The other way of seeing intuition is that intuition is a sensory capacity that is operates outside of cognitive process, and it allows you to sense and see information that's in your environment that you would otherwise miss. Now, why is that so important right now? Well, let's just look at the simple aspect of plug and play. For example, recent research coming out of the HeartMath Institute tells us that the conscious mind, in the same amount of time, the subconscious mind can process 50 million bits of information, and meanwhile, the conscious mind can only process 50 bits of information. That's a huge difference, and I'm sure that's why Gen Y can open up their computers and have multiple windows going on and not get their brain fuses blown or not have any kind of mental meltdown, because they're just processing it all subconsciously. They're just tapped into that higher level of processor. So what does this mean to you as an individual? Well, again, HeartMath tells us that recent research tells us that there are three different avenues, three different strengths that inform your intuitive muscle, shall we say. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have all of them, but it does mean you're going to have a strength in one or two. So in other words, it's a bit of a dynamic, but it's really critical that you know how you access it. What is it for you? It's different for everybody. What is it for you? The three are, first of all, implicit knowledge, and this is the basic inherent understanding you have that you've gained over the years. And the best example of that is a story that was in Fast Company years and years ago about a fire marshal who walked into a burning building and saw his crew all over the building, and in a nanosecond knew something was wrong, ordered the crew out, and right after that the floor of the building collapsed. Now, had they been in there, they all would have been killed. But immediately he knew that the fire wasn't behaving the way it should. There were just things about it, and he immediately trusted his intuition and acted on it. That's implicit knowledge. The second domain is called, the second aspect is called energetic sensitivity. And energetic sensitivity is entangled and wired, kind of meshed with your emotional awareness. So those of you that have been dedicated to emotional intelligence and to raising your self-awareness, self-management, and the capacity to detach and see yourself emotionally are way ahead of the game, because it's a way in which you can pull back emotionally and see things and sense things from a completely different level. How you sense things will be different. There's the great example, I think it was in Malcolm Gladwell's book, I believe Blink, where he described a stockbroker who a very successful stockbroker who every time the market went to shift, his back hurt, and it was his lower back. And back, physically is obviously structure, and it's no mistake that the analogy or the parallel, shall we say, is actually the structure of the market. So it would start to shift. He would make whatever action he felt was correct, and he would be dead on every time. Now, he could rationalize that talking about fundamentals and technicals, but in reality, he'd learned how to tap into his intuition and he knew to trust it. So that's the second example, is energetic sensitivity. And the third one is non-local intuition. That's best experienced. It's like that quantum business of, you know, two people being in two different places. Normally you come across this in a very close relationship where automatically you know something's wrong, or you know something's happened, good or bad, whatever it is, you just know it. And that's non-local intuition. For you as an individual, it means paying a lot of attention to what your body sensations are, and knowing when you're in your mind. As long as you're in your mind, and we've had more and more pressure to go to the mind, and more value, certainly corporately, is placed on the intellect. At the same time, that's not where the power lies in these times. So as long as you're in your cognitive mind, you're not plugged into your intuition. Great opportunity to learn, observe, and expand. Thanks for joining me.